Hey everybody, it's me, Gregory Mannarino. How are you today? It is Monday, August 13th, 2018. People, there's something going on here that really should trouble you. And it goes back to every single thing that I've been talking about for the longest time, but really seems to be coming to a head lately. Unless you live under a rock, you should be aware of what's going on here with regard to the European financial crisis. They're in a major debt crisis over there, just like we are here in the United States. This is a global thing because of the curse of world central banks. Just real quick, I think there's a lot of confusion with regard to central banks here. If you were to follow the mainstream channels or, pretty much just take in what you think might be true, you would maybe believe there are, just a few central banks. You hear about the Federal Reserve, European Central Bank, Central Bank of China. Well, there are hundreds of central banks all over the world. And they are more or less controlled by a couple of entities out here. The Bank of Internal Settlements would be one of them. Our central bank, the Federal Reserve, because the U.S. dollar is still the world reserve currency, is the one that's spoken about the most. And then I would assume it would be the European Central Bank, but there are hundreds of these all over the world. Well, you know what? Just think about that as I move forward here. So this is what happened. Friday, President Trump hits Turkey with some sanctions, sends their currency into free fall. The European banks all start to panic because they really don't know, this is the truth, their exposure to Turkish debt, the Turkish currency. This is stuff that would have to be worked out. So there was a lot of panic here. We witnessed what happened on Friday. The market sold off. Then apparently there was a rumor that the IMF might step in here and bail out Turkey. And then what happened? Markets started to rebound. The Turkish lira started to rebound. And then over the weekend, all this stuff kind of settled out. But what happened last night was pretty incredible. The Turkish lira again began to dive. There was all this talk about, again, the issues with regard to European banks and their exposure to debt from Turkey, although we know this is much larger than this. It's an incredible thing, seriously. And then we find out, well, early this morning there was a rumor floated out that the Turkish Central Bank was going to take action here. And now we find out that the Turkish Central Bank, again, part of all of these central banks are connected. Do not believe for 1 second. And if you do, you really seriously don't know a damn thing. Every one of the world's hundreds of central banks, they're all connected to each other. They're all links in a chain. And it's a phenomenon that it's a curse on this earth. There's no doubt about it. Anyway, so the Turkish Central Bank is going to bail out, apparently. No specifics yet. It's going to bail out Turkey. And what did that do? Well, stock futures turned around. The Turkish lira came up. So the Turkish Central Bank is now going to enslave the Turkish people by again, burying them under more debt. And the market just loves it. Market loves it. As I'm doing this video blog, stocks are higher. Doesn't mean they're going to stay there, but stocks are higher. Look, as I was saying before, world central banks are a phenomenon among themselves. And then there are still many of you out here that believe that President Trump has a grand plan to bring down the Federal Reserve. Good! Even if he were to do that, how about all the hundreds of other ones around the world? Is it going to bring those down too? And don't tell me that the Federal Reserve is the head of the snake. Because if you do say that, you have no idea what you're talking about, because I just explained to you the Bank of Internal Settlements, the International Monetary Fund, and there are other world central banks that would love to have the world reserve currency. You understand? You can't do it. You can't kill it. There is one way to stop it, and it's just so simple, but no one talks about it, and I went crazy on it yesterday. what would be the best strategy here? Let me ask you, especially those of you that believe that there's a grand plan here to end the Fed. Would the best strategy be to hyperinflate the debt, bring it up to a level that we've never been before? Because that's where we are right now. We found out some incredible things over the weekend, and I covered this in the video I did yesterday. I'm not going to do it now. Watch the video I did yesterday if you want to find out what they are. Most of you won't, who, again, are so brainwashed. The way we fix the issue is to starve the beast. How do we starve the beast? Well, we demand, we the people, okay, look, this is, here in America, supposed to be a government of the people, by the people, for the people. Well, if that's really the truth, and our economy is as strong as our president is telling us, why do we continue to borrow? Why do we continue to feed the machine? All the world's central banks are being fed, in hyperdrive by their leaders. President Trump, no exception. Again, I know a lot of you believe this is part of a grand plan, and you're deluded. No doubt about it. But we can fix this much more simple than a mystical plan that will never happen. We cut it off. It's that simple. This is warfare, and this is how you win it. You don't have to institute some kind of 3D chess, which isn't happening. All we need to do is have a balanced budget. If we just spend what we take in, again, our president is telling us that this is as good as it gets right here. We all know this is not true because we have to continue to borrow. Not just borrow more. And again, President Trump, we just found this out over the weekend, is making it even easier for banks to get a tax break. I wrote this down. Actually, I had to keep this. I'm going to read this to you. This is some of the stuff I covered yesterday. The Treasury Department cuts bank taxes by announcing financial services don't include banking. Did you hear what I just said? This will have the effect of cutting taxes paid by the banks. It's unbelievable. A budget deficit hit a record of nearly $700 billion. Consumer debt, again, hit an all-time record high. The numbers of American citizens now filing bankruptcy has hit a record high, hurting older Americans more. If you think this is a good plan, if you're one of those people who have to declare bankruptcy in this environment of fakery, well, I'm sure you don't believe anything that's coming out of President Trump's mouth because it's fake. But here's the deal. We can fix this, and we can fix it easy. All we need to do is demand a balanced budget. Let's stop borrowing. Let President Trump put our money where his freaking mouth is. How's that for a solution? Does that make any sense to you? Or do you still believe we need a mystical plan? We have to believe in the plan. Oh yeah, that should be what we should do. Look, if history is any guide, and there are people that are going to fall into this trap from here until the kingdom come, they're going to put their faith in some one world leader and say, oh, he's going to help me. He's going to help all of us. Oh my God. Oh, I believe in this man or woman. Believe in yourself. You know why? Because I believe in you. That's the truth. Okay? If we start demanding that our politicians offer a balanced budget, something that will work so we can stop borrowing, that will starve the beast will die. You understand? That's all we need to do. But again, I guarantee you there are going to be some people that respond to this and still believe that Trump has the master plan and is going to fix everything because he plays 3D chess. What makes more sense to you? The 3D chess master plan, or we starve the beast? President Trump has been feeding this beast like you have no idea, along with all of the other world leaders. Again, it's not just this guy. President Trump just happens to be the guy sitting in that pretty White House. People, wake the freak up. All right? And if you can't see that this plan here is the best of them all, let's starve the beast. Let's stop borrowing. And elect, or at least try to, in this rigged system, people that are going to represent your interest and understand that you start to demand a balanced budget. I wrote to President Trump yesterday. I tweeted him. He loves to tweet. You know that. at Real Donald Trump, go tweet this guy. Tell him you want a balanced budget. Tell him to starve the Federal Reserve. If he really wants to end the Fed, well, this is how you do it. We don't need some mystical plan. This is how we do it. It's that simple. Anyway, I think he got what he wanted here. Played right into it, into this whole thing here by hitting Turkey. By President Trump hitting Turkey right when he did, while they're already suffering, it opened the door for the Turkish Central Bank or the IMF to do what they're doing now. He's part of the system. If you don't see that by now, you still believe, again, there's a grand plan here, I can't tell you how deluded you actually are. Because all we need to do is starve the beast. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to let you all go. I will see you at the end of the day.